Hey, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining the reading with me. Virgo, this is your September reading. Who could believe we are in the 9th month of 2021 already? I know some of us will probably go, good riddance, but you don't want to rush a year on because it's another year that we can't have back again. And I'm sure the year has had plenty of positive moments in it for everyone, as well as much learning, different ways that we're moving forward as humanity, as we see the changes on the planet, and as we feel the changes both personally and more community-wide as well. So we're going to be using this deck of cards for your reading. I will also tap into these ones over here, which are a beautiful light language cards by Denise Jarvie. We'll just look at those at the very end. I did some intuitive work for your psychic messages, and I will read those out before we start the reading. I did these a couple of weeks ago. The first word that came through for you was nourish. So nourish yourself perhaps, or your mind or your body. And it says old-fashioned looking after yourself. That sounds quite stern. Does that mean, I was going to say, does it mean sleep? And then I've got sleep written next to it. Sleep, rest, eat, enjoy and relax. All of those aspects of self-care and self-nurture and self-nourish would appear to be important, because I underlined, especially I underlined enjoy and relax as well. Now the number 3 seemed to come up for you guys, and 3 is one of the sacred numbers. It also forms the formation of the triangle, if you like. 3 is very relevant in a lot of biblical studies or writings as well. So there is a great energy to the number 3. It says create space for you guys as well. So clear out clutter. In the southern hemisphere, we're coming into spring, so this can be a great time to do things like spring cleaning. But then I've written, it also says to clear clutter out of the mind. Let go of what holds you back. If you are holding on to any doubt, anger or resentment, let that space become full of light and love. So time to recharge the batteries, reassimilate what you're holding in your memory field of your body or your mind, to let go of any resentment or anger or fear or grief that may have been building up over the past short while, or even for a very long-term duration that may be stopping you from moving forward at many different levels. I've also said that there are light beings around you, such as angels, and interestingly enough, so I'd written that a couple of weeks ago, and the video that's playing in the background for you for like a resonant energy during the reading, so that you can pick up the frequency that's being delivered through the video, is Blessings of Archangel Metatron, and it says connect with the laws of the universe and the awakening spiritual gift. And that is by a channel called Musical Zen, and it was released on November the 17th 2020, and it's had over 1 million views. So that is what is playing for you in the background of your reading as we tap into it. So those are your messages, and we will now move into shuffling these cards for you guys and seeing what is coming in store for Virgo for September. We have the 10 of Swords out. It's coming out reversed. This is for Virgo for September, and that 10 always means letting go of something and releasing. Then you have the Judgment card. It's another big card. Oh, the Sun and the 8 of Cups. There is a lot in here about releasing things and letting it go and moving on to something newer. Oh goodness, that's shot out as well over here. The Ace of Swords, triumphant success. The High Priestess. I'm getting a lot of reference here to the Sun and the Moon, and she also has the Moon at her feet. It feels as though whether or not the eclipses from May and June are playing a role for you, or whether we're talking about the eclipses coming up in November, which could be more, I think it's actually November and December, they could be more empowering perhaps than the eclipses that have just been. Let's just pull another 1 or 2 for Virgo for November. It does feel as though you have a lot going on and a lot on your mind. So we have the Ten of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the Ace of Swords, the Three of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. And in between that you have three major arcanas: Judgment, the Sun, and the High Priestess. So three major arcanas out of the 8 cards is quite, well, it's not halfway there, so it's quite a strong month that's coming up for you. If we start with the Ten of Swords reversed, this can quite often mean that you have finally reached a moment in time where you understand a change that may have been required. Now, given it's swords, it may have been around relationships one way or another, because the swords are often about communication. So the art of communing with other people, whether it be through written, spoken, hearing them talk, or you talking, or receiving documentation or something along those lines. But because it's next to the Judgment, this holds even more power in many ways, because this also is an epiphany or an aha moment card. And it's saying to you, this angelic being or host from above is trumpeting very loudly and clearly some awakening message. And then your next card is you're walking away from something. And then the one underneath it is, you might feel a little bit sad about this, but there's this feeling of leaving something behind that might be difficult in terms of the heart, and that works with this card as well. And it could be a close heart relationship, so either a love interest or a family member or a very close friend or someone that you have had a dear and close association with, that just things have no longer been able to be maintained. Is it a differing opinion of values or morals or ethics, or have your integrity values grown and changed over the last couple of years? Do you now value something more that you didn't used to hold in such high regard before, which is changing the dynamics of relationships around you? It may not be just one relationship, it may be many, it may be a whole community, it may be something even along the lines of work. You may realize that a job you've been doing hasn't been satisfying or fulfilling, and you could be considering leaving that, which in turn leaves many people behind, or many, feeling sad about walking away and leaving a group of friends or community-minded people. But because you seem to be on this growth or this new direction or this awareness or this awakening, expansion of the mind even, or expansion of the soul, we might well call it. This can also mean a feeling of being in the mode of thinking about changing your health one way or another. And it might not be a long-term picture, it might be something you're starting in the here and now, and you're going, okay, this is it. As of today, I am going to take up this or drop that out of my life, or change this modality, or I'm going to look into starting something new. And it could be because you've had health issues that may have impeded something and been preventing you from fully being involved in a certain level of your life, whether it was physical, and sometimes this can be physical because of those swords in his back. So there could have been physical pain somewhere in your body that was holding you back from fully engaging in an activity or a pursuit that you would have enjoyed doing. And oftentimes it is up in that thorax or the top half of the body area, in the whole top half of the body, but it can lead itself all the way down to the hips and the thighs and the legs as well. So it might be that some of you have just gone, I've had it, I've had enough, it's time to make some changes. I feel as though I'm ready to move into the new phase of life. So as much as I see a lot of this reading about walking away from something and leaving things behind, when we get to that metamorphosis stage of dropping off stuff, we know that we're going to be heading in a new direction. So what we need to do is focus more on where we're going as to where we've come from. And this reading is showing me a little bit that you guys are perhaps focusing on where you've come from, or what you're losing, or what you're leaving behind. It's as if you're saying, oh, look, if I change all this, I'm going to lose all that, or it's years of wasted this, or am I ready for that change? You've got to change your thinking and modify more of it about prosperity and manifestation. And there's a wonderful little mantra or saying that I often use, and it's quite simple and quick. It's this: there is no future in the past. So we're always moving forward, we're always evolving, we're always shifting and changing. So we don't really need to be in the past all the time. And living in the past creates depression. Anxiety is worry about the future, right? But living in the past is where we bring up feelings of and the adjustment to and the incorporation of depression into our life. So some of you, I feel, have at this point in time are pondering about making this move forward and feeling the pain of it, or the grief, or the lack of certainty, I guess, about the future going forward. Are you weighing up too much? Are you trying to go, oh, is it going to work, or would it be better if I stayed? I've got this feeling that you are literally weighing things up in your mind, or writing them down on a list and saying to yourself, I just don't know if this is going to work. What you could focus on in here are these three cards are the most powerfully positive ones: the Sun, the Ace of Swords, and the High Priestess. Both the Sun and the High Priestess focus on new birth of something. They're both insinuating conception, fertility. Now these can be pregnancy, fertility and conception, especially if some of you have been trying to conceive and have had lack of conception or even miscarriages. There is a feeling in this reading that some of you may have gone through a loss like this and you're wondering how you might be able to conceive a baby. But these two are very fertile cards, so if you focus on the manifestation of these, they can show you that this could be a time of fertility if you plan things out right, if your body is in the right receiving mode, if you are full of all the right nutrients, minerals and vitamins, and if your stress levels and your hormone levels are all flowing well, this could be a time where conception could occur. Now, in terms of conception about other aspects of life, like conception of ideas, or conception of a new job, or a new lover, or a new health modality, or more money, or whatever it is you're seeking, these also really bode well and opt for that as well. So the Sun does cover off wonderful new relationships, possible new love interests coming in. So does the High Priestess. This is a very fulfilling card in as much that it can be extreme attraction between two people, often male and female, although nowadays with the more non-binding relationships that we have in terms of male-female, it could be referring to any relationships that are attractive to each other. But it can be a very physical, sexual, chemistry type attraction with this one, whereas this is more of a love and a nurture and a support. This is a more physically active card. So there is in this reading quite a lot of attraction going on to someone new, possibly. Some of you may walk away from from a currently existing partner and may be already heading to or looking out for or have met a new partner. This card can often turn up when we see things like a divorce coming, divorce papers being handed over, the final settlement, a dissolution of a business. So for some of you, this may be the dissolution of a business concept or idea. It may have been something that you had been working on or fostering or had put money into or had borrowed against. And it might just be time to realize that it either needs complete changing, something brand new to bring zest back into it, to fire it up, or it's time to fold it up, move on, and start again in another direction. This High Priestess could be very fortunate in terms of starting it anew or afresh or giving it new energy, if we're talking about something like a business. This one, well, yes, it can mean the ending of a relationship. It can also mean that a relationship that you wish to have saved is in need of mediation. some sort of communication, immediate help within communication, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking to the other person, whether it's listening to what they have to say. You can sometimes resolve these issues, but often a third person can be needed, like a mediator or a resolution team. It can sometimes refer to family issues, and it can sometimes reference 3 people involved. So sometimes this card can indicate an affair that has been going on in the background, or a third person or party involved within an intimate relationship. It doesn't have to mean that it's particularly sexual. It could just be that the third person has taken time or taken a higher seating within a relationship, like either you're paying more attention to a third person, or your partner might be, and they might be listening to them more, or confiding in them, or believing in things they say, so that their status is altered and yours is dropped to a degree. That's also what this card can be referring, but these things can be salvageable through, as I say, communication. This last card you got, he's also very much about being on the defensive and feeling as though the world is at him a little bit, and that's a little bit how it started. Even though this is reversed, it has the feeling of thinking that other people are against you, or you've got people doing things behind your back, or harming you, or creating some sort of anxiety or tension or depression, or playing around with aspects of your life that you wish they wouldn't. And this one's very much the same. But what this card is actually saying is, don't give up, because you're coming so far along the track that the sun is literally around the corner. Your vision will be less obscured by, I don't know, murky stuff that you can't quite depict, or you can't quite get your fingers on. It will clear up, and the road forward will become more visible, and you will understand the journey that you're making. So quite an intense month possibly for you in September, and I think September does hold a lot of energy for a lot of people. It's the month of the equinoxes in September, and that creates quite volatile energy at the best of times, both for the planet in terms of weather, different aspects, and also for people. So this is for Virgo to finish off their reading for September. What is in store for them, or what would you like them to focus on? There's a few too many in here to pull them all. We'll just shuffle again and perhaps pick the first 3 or 4. Let go, number 18. It is very much about letting go, and we'd said that in the very first messages that came. Even the Ace of Swords is actually about letting go and moving on to something new, and this Ace looks very, very similar. So there's a duality in that message there from both of those, and written on this is the word truth. So somewhere you are going to find a truth about a situation or an aspect or a feeling that you've been experiencing, and whatever that truth is, to whatever level for you in your life in particular, you need to act on it. And whatever it is you've got to let go, whether it's something just deeply personal that other people may not notice, it could be something you've been holding on to that's been dark, or like an addiction or an obsession or an imbalance one way or another. It could be a mental health issue. It could be a physical prop that you've been using in life to get you through. Your truth is going to awaken you to the ability to understand that you can free that up and you can let it go. As you move forward into what I said earlier, what will be a new chapter, and the sun will help to emerge or awaken and bring to your attention more fruitful or positive aspects. Sensitivity. So there is a degree of sensitivity around you, and I think we felt that with some of the cards that had come in, because we could see this, the 10 of Swords and the 8 of Cups, this feeling of being a bit sensitive about some situations that may have occurred, or people in your life as well. Now, sensitivity can also be things such as sensitive to allergens or to toxins as well. So cleansing the body and allowing the body to be bathed in some form of pureness, whether it be time out or by water, by a beach, or high pH waters, or bathing under the sun, having sun baths, things along those lines, or swimming in high salt content bodies of water like the oceans. They can all help to purify and detox as well. Divine animals, number 22. Some of you will perhaps experience time with animals that are very cathartic for you. There might be animals in your life that are very bonded and special in deep relationships. For some of you, you might find that these relationships are also changing. Some of you may have an animal that is passing over or has passed over and is making connection with you. So there's a possibility here that you will see, hear or feel them in the spirit world, and that could be the message that I had at the beginning when I said you will feel light beings, angels and things like that. They can come from the animal kingdom as well. Some of you may receive new spirit guides and some of them may be animals. Wow, there's another strong play out of the word truth. So this is your authentic truth. Some of you are going to get a really strong reverberating message for this month of September coming up about your truth and your journey and how you want to move forward with it and what is authentic to you in particular. It could be that you have been playing favor to other people in your life and fitting in with their lives, or agreeing to something that you know deep down is not quite right, or that you have been supporting them on their journey more than your own, and that may have been because you had to. Like, it could be family, or it could be a sibling, or it could be one of your own children, or it could be someone that you know needed your support and help and guidance, but that it wasn't being necessarily your authentic truth, and it could be time to let go. So I think it's a really powerful reading for you guys. I will stop there for you and let you ponder those messages. It's up to you to discern which way this reading is talking to you and at which level it would like you to meditate with or to connect with or to understand about this authentic truth message that is coming through. So there you are, Virgo. Hey, thank you very much for joining me, for being part of Team Celestial. I wish you all the very, very best for September as we merge into that latter part of 2021. Much love, everyone. Remember to please sub the channel, like the video, leave your comments. It's always wonderful to hear from you. Much love. Namaste.